Hi guys, Jim again, and welcome back to another episode of There I Read It, where I'm finally reading the Harry Potter books for the first time ever in my life. And today we are on, I think it's chapter 11 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and this is called The Firebolt, which, like most of Rowling's chapter, has nothing to do with the bulk of the chapter. But into my notes. Harry goes through the photo album that Hagrid had given him at the end of the first book, and he finds a picture of Black, I think it was at the wedding of his parents, and Harry's kind of surprised to see that Black is pretty handsome. He's not all shrunken and waxy like he expects. And there's also a picture of Peter Pettigrew, who Sirius Black killed, and he's said to resemble Neville Longbottom. I don't know if that's something that's going to be reflected later, but I hope not, because nobody is my sweet baby Nevsy. He's so sad and pathetic, I refuse to accept that there's another one. And Harry's kind of ruminating and going over all this stuff in his head, and he comes to the realization that Dementors don't affect Black like they do everybody else. So Harry might just want to kill him, you know, like you do. I feel like this book really took a sharp turn and got dark from Harry's perspective awfully fast. And it's said that Peter Pettigrew's mother was given her son's finger because that's all they could find of him after Black exploded him. And I kind of hate at this point that I have seen the movies before, because the Pettigrew arc is the one thing that I really clearly remember. And it's like, man, I could have put together all these clues and guessed at it and, you know, had theories going, and it could have been cool, but no, I already know what's going to happen, but I'm not going to tell you guys because some of you are reading along with me, and I'm going to respect that. So the trio get it in their heads that they're going to go down to Hagrid's hut and talk to him because Harry wants to know why he wasn't told such and such and such and such. Like, you know, he's all getting angsty to the max. And I don't know, it's almost cute if I didn't have my own teenagers and just want to smack that angstiness out of them. So maybe that's why I can't stand Harry, because I currently have two teenagers living in my house, and it's just like, oh my gosh, why all the time? But when the kids get to Hagrid's house, he is just sobbing, just oh, which has to be really weird when you're a giant, because your tears are probably like buckets of water coming out. I don't know, Hagrid's scale is something I have trouble grasping because the books and the movies seem to be all over the place with it. But Hagrid is crying his eyes out because the Committee for the Disposal of Dangerous Creatures wants to have a hearing on Buckbeak over the whole Malfoy incident. And Harry, who could obviously tell that Hagrid was just miserable right now, he really held back his anger because his friend was sad. And I even wrote in my notes, empathy, yay! Because normally when somebody gets upset around Harry or something bad happens to somebody around Harry, he's like, oh, that sucks. And then his internal dialogue goes, but here's why I have it worse. Just like, oh, smack that angst out of your fat head. I don't hit children, I swear. I just really, really want to sometimes. And even after the kids come in and they're trying to talk Hagrid down, and he's just still so upset that Ron finally goes, hey, you want me to make some tea? I'm gonna make some tea. And Harry's like, what are you doing? And Ron's just like, what? It's what my mom does when people are upset, because Molly is a treasure, and I will never have enough of Molly Weasley. And Hagrid starts talking about his stint in Azkaban, and he says when the Dementors are gone, it is the best feeling in the world. It's like you've gone from black and white to color. It's just so much better. But as it turns out, and as we could kind of speculate from what's happened before, the Dementors do not care if you're guilty or not, because to them, food is food. So because Hagrid has been to Azkaban before, that makes him way too afraid to try and release Buckbeak into the wild. So pretty much Buckbeak is gonna have a trial, and the kids are gonna try to help the best they can, but it doesn't feel like it's shaping up to be a positive thing for this Hyptogriff. Hyptogriff? Was that right? Hippogriff? Hyptogriff? Hippogriff? If I could only remember what chapter he was in. Oh well, you guys will get in the comments and correct me 500 times, so it's all good. Anyways, the kids end up back in the castle, and it's mentioned that Christmas decor has been put up over the holiday break. And that's almost weird because they also mention how there's like 0 kids left in the school. There's almost no kids left. So who are those decorations really for? And more importantly, in my opinion, who is putting them up? If they're applied magically, then no problem, have all the decorations you want. But if you are making Filch climb up these rickety old ladders to hang all of this garland by hand, then these wizards are monsters. Then we hit Christmas Day and it's time for gifts, and Harry gets a scarlet jumper with the Gryffindor lion on it from Molly, of course, because she's the only sweater knitter that we know. And she also sends 12 mince pies, a Christmas cake, and nut brittle. I don't know how any of those things kept to be wrapped up. I mean, maybe the nut brittle, but how are you going to wrap up pies and cake and send it as a gift? Must be magic, I guess. But then Harry has a mystery package that turns out to be a Firebolt broom. And those Firebolt brooms apparently cost hundreds of galleons each. I'm probably saying that wrong. Galleons. Galleons. But the takeaway is they are super expensive brooms. And the fact that that broom is not signed really has Hermione fuming. Like, I don't trust that thing. I think it's cursed. I think something's wrong. Do you not remember what happened to you before, Harry? Get a clue. But Harry's just like, no, this kind of thing happens to me all the time. I want my magical free broom. And surprisingly, they didn't talk anymore about Harry's other Christmas gifts. Usually he has things from Dumbledore or his other friends or teachers, but this time it's just Molly's stuff and the Firebolt. So I guess nobody else mattered, did they? Oh, and then the kids find out that Lupin wasn't in the hospital wing when he was supposed to be out sick. So the mystery of Lupin rages on. Oh, and then back to the Firebolt. They're saying that the cost of the Firebolt would equal all of the Slytherin team brooms put together. And I think there's, 7 to 9 kids that play on a team, and Lucius Malfoy had bought all of them brooms to get his son on the team. So yeah, that Firebolt, I'm trying to fathom how much that broom could cost. I feel like hundreds of galleons isn't the right amount. It should be thousands if all these other brooms equal the price of one Firebolt. But Hermione comes into the room while they're opening gifts, and Ron ends up trying to kick at Crookshanks. How dare he, first of all? But Ron ends up knocking over Harry's trunk, and that pocket sneakoscope is still whirling on. And Harry goes, oh, I forgot about that. And I'm just reading like, me too, buddy, me too. But I mean, Ron sent the sneakoscope, and I did go back and verify that that's correct. So if it's whirling over the reason I think it is, which is a fuzzy reason, and Ron is the one that bought and sent that thing, then why wasn't it going crazy when Ron bought it? Because he always seems to have that spoiler thing with him all the time. Anyways though, it's time to go to the Christmas meal, and the common room table is set for 12 people, and all the other big tables are just pushed out of the way because, you know, nobody's there. And the people who are left over Christmas break are Dumbledore, McGonagall, Snape, Sprout, Flitwick, Filch, 2 nameless first-year kids, a nameless fifth-year Slytherin kid, and then Ron, Harry, and Hermione. So it seems like we have the headmaster, what I believe are all the heads of the different houses, and then the poor janitor who never gets a minute off, apparently. I know we're not supposed to like Filch, but at the same time, come on! This guy gets cruelty slapped against his head just at an over-the-top level. I feel bad for Filch, and I am not ashamed to say it. Really, Filch is like all of us. We are all kind of squibs that want to be in this Harry Potter world, but we're not magic. So we're trying to make the best of it, and we're buying our fake wands, and we're flicking and swishing, and it's not making a difference because we don't have the right blood. Dang, that hit home harder than I expected. Oh, but then Trelawney does end up showing up, and she doesn't want to eat at the table with everybody else because when 13 die, the first one that gets up dies, apparently. So, this girl is either crazy cuckoo nut job or she is on an ethereal level that nobody else understands. But I don't know that I love Professor Trelawney, honestly. I kind of feel on the side of Hermione that she's pretentious and kind of nutso, but I'm assuming that by the end of this book we'll know for sure one way or the other. Is she really good at what she does, or is she a really bad faker? Who's to say? Lupin is also somewhere in the castle, but he is ill again, so he doesn't show up for dinner, and Harry and Ron are the first ones to rise from the table, but they're not sure who did the standing first. So Trelawney's over there going, I mean, I don't know how McGonagall doesn't just like knock her out. Not that you should use violence to solve your problems, but there are limits, people. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this before or if it has changed since the last time the password came up, but the current Gryffindor Tower password is Scurvy Cur. But the chapter ends with Ron and Harry up there admiring the Firebolt, and then in comes Hermione and McGonagall. And McGonagall is such a low-key snitch here. She just goes, "You're right, Miss Granger. I don't trust this broom. It might be cursed or jinxed or hexed or whatever. So we're gonna take it until Hooch and Flitwick can check it." And for whatever reason, it's gonna take weeks before that broom can be back in Harry's hands. And of course, all this is done because somebody wouldn't put a gift note with their present to Harry, so everybody just assumes that it's from Sirius Black and it's going to be something really bad. I would kind of like it if it was from Black, but it was just like, it was a regular broom. Nothing was wrong with it. He's just like, "Hey buddy, I love you. Sorry I killed your dad." But I kind of doubt they're going to get that weird and cheesy with the chapters as they go on, but who's to say really? Although before we go, I do have to get into the illustrated copy of the book that I have and show you the artist rendition of this sweater that Harry got, because isn't Molly the best? If you're listening to this through the podcast, you really need to go to youtube.com/thefanily and look at this picture, because it is such a cute lion. Aw, lion, why don't you tell me you can do what you can do? Wait, no, wrong giant franchise. But this was really another chapter that I struggled to get into, and I don't know why. It wasn't even like it was bad or it was draggy. I don't know, maybe I've just got so much quarantine fatigue at this stage that my brain is turning to mush. But I'm hoping that since now we're over the halfway mark of the book, or at least chapter-wise we are, that things are going to start picking up more aggressively and we're going to get more answers and more intrigue, and it's not going to feel so chore-ish to read. It's really making me nervous going beyond Prisoner of Azkaban into Goblet of Fire and, oh my gosh, the Order of the Phoenix. And I don't know, like, I don't know, it's like I want to start them, but I'm so afraid I'm going to get stuck or I'm not going to finish them. So yeah, I don't know how this podcast kind of series is going to go once I finish Prisoner of Azkaban. So that is why your comments and likes and shares and support are so important, because as you probably know, I am a mother of 3 and this has become my full-time job. So the more people that watch my videos, the more revenue I get, the more recommendations I get, the more I'm kind of inclined to cater to something specific like reviewing a book series, especially when it's become such a controversial thing to talk about. I'm surprised I'm still having to delete comments from people that are like, "How dare you read Harry Potter? She's the devil." And what's really weird is I remember when these books were new and the movies were coming out, and you know, there were all of these Christian groups that were going, burn the Harry Potter books, they're from the devil, they preach magic, and now we have it on the total other side 20 years later of like, no, burn these books because of this reason. And I am not fully into the politics of that, and I really don't want to get into the full politics of that because, you know, I like staying, I guess, ill-informed for a better word, because there's only so much people can do, there's only so much people can take, so much people that they can give up, and I don't want to find something that's going to potentially ruin something that I have been enjoying. Not to mention, this book series is so dramatically huge that it has moved beyond the author, and even if she makes pennies for me buying a copy of this book, it is so beyond a drop in the bucket that it doesn't really make much a difference. You could totally stop buying anything that Rowling makes and she's still gonna be like a quadrillionaire, whatever. So, you know, take these videos for what they are. This is not commentary on religion. This is not commentary on any gender stuff. This is just me trying to enjoy a series that is extremely popular. And even then, people still get mad, like, I can't believe that you would say such horrible things. Like, people call me trash over these videos because I don't like Harry. It's just like, what? This is really what you spend your day being upset about? Okay. Oh, okay. I'm rambling. I know that. Sorry, guys, but I want to thank you all for listening to me go on like a crazy person. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and all that so that I am more motivated and encouraged to do more of these videos. And we will see you next time, Fanily members. Bye! Well, Fanily members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, "Hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that?" Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Fanily. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Fanily and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. People who watch to the end of videos like you helps to tell the site, "Hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people." So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, "Hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, Fanily members."